in South Arkansas, actually, and worked on a farm all my life. But when it came time to go to college, I wanted to get out of the state and kind of, because at that time, nobody ever left Arkansas. So I came to Missouri and went to Drury. Oh, I just fell in love with the Ozarks. And I also really fell in love with the culture. It's a different kind of culture. And while I was at Drury is when I sort of started putting down my musical roots. And a lot of it came from this new love that I'd found for the Ozarks. Because where I grew up, it was flat. You could see forever. It was the Grand Prairie, they call it down there. But what I did find, especially as I grew older, became a junior or so in school, I began to realize that there were people in this area that wrote songs. And then one of our original members, Randy Chowning, came up with the idea of sort of handpicking various people who wrote songs and putting them together to form a group.
I think our very first gig was at the St. John's Hospital in the 4 North sector, is what they call it, which was the loony bin. So we played for about 50 mental patients up there, which I think that might have had something to do with something, a foreboding of what's to come. So that was our very first gig. And we were writing so many songs. We had 4 writers in the group, at least. So the songs were just coming like from a faucet. It seemed like every time we got together we had to work up a couple of songs. And about a year and a half later we got very lucky and had Glenn Johns and David Anderley from A&M Records come and see us in Kansas City, and they said right away, let's do a record.
It's 400 acres, and this house is pre-Civil War, and so up by Bolivar in the middle of nowhere, and we would go up there and basically hone our craft for days at a time. So Jackie Blue, that entire It'll Shine When It Shines album was recorded in the living room of this place with a big truck from LA they brought in. And I would say probably 70–80% of the songs were written on the spot during the session. It'll Shine When It Shines that I wrote with Steve was written on the front porch of that house in basically one setting. Probably the most creative 2 weeks of my life. It was a wonderful experience, unforgettable actually.
For some reason, we never did really quit. We just, even when we weren't as popular as we were at the very beginning, or some record didn't sell, or we had to maybe get dropped to get a new, it's like we just kept on going and kept writing new songs and kept working it up and kept playing. Luckily, our fans have been there since the beginning and kept us alive, really.
I mean, it's like sort of an extended marriage in a lot of ways, It has its difficult moments, and it also has its wondrous times. And I realize how fortunate I am, 40 years on, to still be a part of a group that still makes good music. I mean, every night is like the first night. I mean, we put a lot of energy in what we do when we're on stage, and it's still fun.
Looking for the sun, singing rain and pain on he who hesitates. It'll shine when it shines. You might think I'm wasting time, but I'm just a good old boy that's learned to wait.
Thank you for listening to us. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.